Hi there, and welcome to another episode of What's on Your Mind. The program is produced by Break Tru TV at gmail.com. This is a live stream. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And as I say, it's about what's on your mind. However, I always try to look of what's happening around the world, in the last week or so, or the last 2 weeks. So, let me have a little start. Black activist Sasha Johnson, 27, is fighting for her life in hospital. She was shot. People aged 32 and 33 have been offered the COVID vaccine in England. A Wolverhampton councillor has made history by being the first African Caribbean woman to be appointed deputy mayor. New York Times, USA, a Tennessee man who died of breathing difficulties was told he was a stupid bastard when he was restrained by police officers. Donald Trump is being sued by a Chinese American civil rights group over his use of the term Chinese virus. Ghana. President Adu has said that he sees jihadism as a great threat to West Africa. Israel and Hamas claims a fragile ceasefire. And the ceasefire started last week. Jamaica. A man has set his common law wife on fire in Jamaica. London, rich list. Strive Masayua has made it as the first African billionaire in Britain. He is on the list of rich people, the Sunday Times list. Entertainment. U-Roy final album, Solid Gold, has been released on vinyl. Beanie Man has been fined 150,000 Jamaican dollars for a breach of the COVID rules. Michael Jackson, UK publisher, warns him against doing an interview with Martin Bashar. Sports. Max Verstappen has won the Monaco Grand Prix. Lewis Hamilton came 7th. Liverpool has secured a place in the European Football League. They finished 3rd in the Premier League. They beat Crystal Palace 2-0. And that ends this week's story. However, I will go back a little bit and look at the news in a little bit more details. Sasha Johnson, the 27-year-old, is fighting for her life after being shot in the head in London. She has been threatened numerous times. 5 men have been arrested. And as I say, if you are age 32, 33, going up, you will be offered the COVID vaccination in England. A Wolverhampton councillor has made history. And she's the first African Caribbean appointed deputy mayor in 173 years. She said it feels like breaking the glass ceiling. So, we say big congratulations to that wonderful lady. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe in this program. Now, the US of A. USA. The New York Times. A Tennessee man who died from breathing difficulties was told he was a stupid bastard by police officer who restrained him. A footage from 2020 has been circulated. Donald Trump is being sued by the Chinese American civil rights group over his use of the term Chinese virus to describe the pandemic. He is being sued for $22 million. The president of Ghana, President Adu, has said he sees jihadism as a threat to West Africa. In an interview, he says this is what he thinks, you know. So, I don't know. And I'll say, in Israel and Hamas, there has been worldwide criticism of the bombing, the fighting, and people losing their lives in Israel. They've had a fragile ceasefire. But this has been going on for so long, you just don't know where it's going to go. Yeah. And Jamaica, a woman has been set on fire by her, I think you could say he was her boyfriend. Nicola Clark remains critically ill in hospital, and we hope she recovers very soon. Moving on to what I call my strange stories. You know, strange stories are always happening across the world. Yeah, strange stories are always happening across the world. And not so other than I gotta get my laugh into this one, yeah? I gotta get my laugh into this one. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, yeah? I gotta get my laugh into this one right now. So, strange stories. Apparently, there has been a story that's been circulating on all social media channels. And what it says, people who has had the COVID vaccine are being magnetized. They have been magnetized. So, me with the common sense I always use common sense because, you know, common sense is one of the most important sense you can have. But the trouble is, common sense does not grow in everybody's garden. Right? So, work that out for yourself. So, me now and thinking like common sense, I figure that in your body, you've got zinc in your body, yeah? You've got copper in your body, and you've got iron in your body. So, iron is therefore the one that will pick up magnets, isn't it? So, I think these people have been eating too much iron. In other words, they've been eating too much greens, too much banana. That's why they are being magnetized. And it's not because of the COVID vaccine. You know, it's just one of those silly stories, isn't it? And they keep rubbing the magnet up their arm as well, you know what I mean? And that sort of thing. It's a strange one. It's a strange one. Now, this is where I sort of come on to my rant. My rant. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. My rant. Now, my rant is about the clean air zone in Birmingham. The clean air zone comes into force on the 1st of June. And it gives you a location where it covers. And you cannot sort of go into the city center. Well, you can go into the city center. That's not quite right. You can go into the city center. It's not illegal to go into the city center. But if you have a car, say, 9, 10, 11 years old, whether it be diesel or not diesel, you will have to pay a charge. A charge of £8 a day. 365 days a year. So no matter how many times you go into Birmingham city center, you will have to pay this charge. Now, I'm all for the clean air zone, but why have they bring it into force now when companies are losing jobs because of the COVID pandemic? Workers can hardly find any work because of the COVID pandemic. And there was various reasons why this should not have come into place at this particular time. But I don't think a lot of people has made a fuss about it, you know, from my experience. And I think the so-called people who runs the city just say, okay, we'll do this and we will do that. But I don't think that sort of thing that they actually do originally came from the UK. I think it comes from Europe. So to reduce the carbon, you know, to reduce the carbon effects, you know what I mean, and to have a clean air zone, they've literally forced this on us. And I know people's going to say, well, my children, because my children breathe the fume in, and this sort of thing may happen. You know what I mean? They may develop certain disease. And I'm all sympathize with parents. But as I say, this should not come in at this particular time. And a few years ago in England, the government they couldn't sing more about diesel car. Because diesel car is one of the most cars that's going to be affected, or vehicles that drive with diesel. Or if you have a diesel vehicle, those are the vehicles that will be most affected. And as I say, in the UK so many years ago, diesel was the best thing since sliced bread. And they've literally changed the rules again, you know what I mean? So you don't know where this is going. And this is, it's not a particularly good time when the pandemic is on, people are losing their work, the business in the city. I don't really use the city center that much. I'm ranting here, but I've got a car that can go into the city anyway. So it's not because it's affecting me. I'm talking about the whole people in general. I've got a car that I can go straight into the city center and I don't have to pay anything. Yeah. So it's not about me. It's about you guys. You know, and it's a very bad time to have bought this in at the present moment. And a lot of business, people's going to go elsewhere. They're going to go somewhere else. They're not going to go into the city center. So in the next couple of years again, I see the city center going to be less and less and less. And people who lives in the city center was always crazy to go and live in the city center because it's fantastic. And they say, yes, it's great living in the city center. But now, after you losing business in the city center, they're probably going to go somewhere else. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. Now, my next rant is the rich list. You know, people with money. Now, this is a good one. That's it. The rich list. And people with money. Now, according to the Sunday Times rich list, more people has made it onto the rich list within the pandemic period than any other time. It's not funny, but can you believe that? There's more billionaires than any other time. And so many people has made it on this rich list. I don't know what they've been doing. And I don't know what's been happening. While other groups and other people has been losing their jobs, other business has been going to the wall, and a lot of people have been working from home, and a lot of people have been losing their job because they can't go to work because of the pandemic. They've been in a lockdown. But however, the rich is getting richer. And the poor is getting poorer. Because since the rich list was started 33 years ago, it's hit a record according to the Sunday Times rich list. Yes, it's hit a record. I gotta tell you, I haven't made it. However, I gotta say there's quite a few footballers who has made it onto that rich list. Yeah, there's quite a few footballers that made it. I'm not a footballer. I don't know how to play football, so I haven't made it to this list. The other thing I gotta say about the rich list, not a lot of women has made it on the rich list. There's a few, but there's not a lot of women that's made it on the rich list, and there's not a lot of people from Birmingham that's made it on that rich list either. So there you have it. Anyway, as I said before, any one of you got the money and got the rich list and make a lot of money, please invest in Break Tru TV at gmail.com. I was not told to say that. I just said it myself. Now, my next rant. I got to tell you my next rant now. Now this has gone all over the place on social media, and it has gone viral. The first thing I must say, there's a young man in this who is the security guard, and I gotta say, I'll say it again, I gotta say, this man is fantastic. And the fact that is, he kept his calm so cool. He was so cool doing his job, and he was so polite about this. Now, I think this lady has been arrested, so I'm not going to go into it too deep, and it's being investigated. But a woman, I'm not going to call her a lady, because if you're a lady, you wouldn't do this sort of thing. A woman has hurled racist abuse at a security man in Birmingham city centre at a bar. And this man was quite polite to her. I mean, you know, in this period of time, there's certain people there's certain amount of people that they will let into a building. So he was there doing his job. Yes, you can come in. Yes, you can come in. Yes, you can come in. And no, you can't come in. You have to wait your turn. Well, when this lady has to wait her turn, instead of she just wait and relax, she went crazy. She racially abused the man. She pushed him and she called him a effing C. Yes. She also called him the N-word. Now, I will never encourage violence here, especially towards a woman. But if this man hasn't kept his cool, I don't know what would have happened. But he kept his cool so well, and he didn't get aggressive. No, I know a lot of people wouldn't have taken a stand for this. He pushed the man, and in the end, she spit at him. Yeah, she spit at him. The sad thing about it is that the people there, those people there that never intervened. These people was there doing taking the pictures, putting this on different social media. And not one of those people, while they was doing this, intervened. What sort of world are we living in? You've seen somebody being racial abused. You've been seeing somebody push. They should have stopped her. They should have stopped her there and then. But they didn't. They didn't stop her there and then. And as I say, I'm not quite sure of the man's name. But as I say, brilliant work, sir. You did fantastic. And the thing about this as well, this woman, I'm not gonna call her a lady. This woman, the thing about this is that this woman, she's only 24. So she's a young person, really. So she's grown up knowing African Caribbean, British African Caribbean, African people, in a multicultural society. Now, if it was somebody who was sort of, you know, say, real senior, and say oldish, the way you say oldish, right? You could have said then, okay, oh, they're a little bit old, so you take no notice. You know what I mean? Because some of the older ones you can never change, can you? I'm not saying it's right to be old and be racist. I'm not saying that. But, you know, you could say, well, if these people was, you know, in the late, who can't be changed again? Because some people, they just can't be changed. No matter how they try, they're set in their ways, so they can't be changed. But this lady is, I don't know why I call her lady, to be honest. This woman is a young person. Where has she been? And you know what? The thing about it as well, when you see the clips of her, she wasn't drunk. If she was drunk, you know, you could have said, yes, she's drunk. But she wasn't drunk. She was just utterly rude. Utterly rude. And I think things like that shouldn't be happening, especially from such young people. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And, wow, wow. But, and you would have expected somebody at that young age to act better. And the other thing she actually, I think she when you see on social media, she actually uses the fact that, oh, I've got African Caribbean friends, I'm not racist. I've got African friends, I'm not racist. I go out with African people. I go out with African Caribbean people. I'm not racist. Now, that takes me to a time back when you will hear this. That takes me to a time back, because if you look at the archives, you will see this kind of thing went on way back in the 70s or in the 80s. And it went on in the context that if you was going out, which I never go to this place anyway, plus I was too young, and I wasn't probably born yet. But if you goes back to some of these cases, you will see, back in those days, a person of African Caribbean would go to a nightclub. And they would say, you can't get in, because the management wouldn't allow you to get in. However, what does happen if you complain and say, why are you not letting me in? Because I'm African Caribbean? Or is it because I'm black? They would say, no, it's not because we're that. And the excuse they use is, oh, I'm not racist, you know, because I employ an African Caribbean person. You see where I'm going with that? It's not funny, but you see where I'm going with that. Yeah. Oh, I'm not racist, you know. I'm not racist. I'm not racist. I've got African Caribbean friend. That is a silly excuse. And over the years, I've heard that with different people talking about it. You know what I mean? Because they literally think you can't have, if you have an African Caribbean friend, or a British Caribbean friend, or a British Nubian friend, you can't be racist. Rubbish. Absolute rubbish. So, in a time like these, you know what I mean, I find it so annoying that a young person of that age should be doing something like that, you know what I mean? And I mean, I can't say anything because I don't know what her background is, and I don't know what her teaching is, you know what I mean? So, but it's not on. It's just not on, and people need to do better. And it says her friends are her associate that she was with, or even the people that she was filming this to put this on all the channels or online. They should have intervened instead of their, you know, clipping. They should have stopped it or intervened. I'll give you an example. Many years ago, I was working with an Asian colleague. And the place I worked, a lot of people was sort of being horrible to this Asian colleague. Right? And I stepped up and I says, leave him alone. Leave him alone. Why you, he wasn't doing nothing. He wasn't in a fight with anyone. Leave him alone. And you know, he was never bothered again. Nobody bothered him again. So, and that's all it takes. That's all it takes to stop something like that. But people think it's, you know, it's some, I don't know. Sometimes I think people get a kick out of it. Instead of stopping the wrong things, they should stop these things. And if people would step in and stop this sort of racist behavior, things would be a lot better. Things would be a lot better. But if you see your friends doing something rude, you don't stop him. I mean, let me give you an example. If you go out the street and you see your friend kicking somebody for no reason at all, are you going to stop him? Or are you just going to let them carry on kicking the person? You see what I'm saying? You see where I'm going with that? Or are you going to let them carry on kicking the person for no reason at all, and the person is not in fight, they're not doing you anything? Well, it's exactly the same thing. People should intervene. I know that probably some people think, oh, if I intervene, this is going to happen, that's going to happen, and that's going to happen. It's in a different situation. If you're with your friends and your friends are doing something silly, or being racist, or being abusive to people, or being violent to somebody, the first thing you're supposed to do is to stop your friend and say, stop it. If the person does something else, it's different. Yes, if the person does something, it becomes different then. But if the person is innocent and haven't done anything, if they're doing something wrong, your friends or your posse or whoever you're with, you should say, stop it. And I think, you know, I think the world would be a better place. I'm not trying to change the world, but I'm just saying it as it is. And most of the time, I only deal with common sense. And that is common sense. Yeah. Wow. I know. Don't forget, as I say, to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. It's Break Tru Tv at gmail.com. And I tell you, a few of our sponsors are the ACMC, New Style Radio, 98.7 FM. Yeah. And, as I say, this program goes out every Wednesday from 8 till 9. And if you see anything that's, you know, it's a live stream, you know. I'm sitting here talking to you directly. The program is not edited. It's a live stream. Now, not a lot of people don't do this. You know what I mean? A lot of people do this. So, as I say, it is a live stream. And, as I say, I'm hoping to talk to somebody very, very soon. And I say, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe once again. And if you need to get in touch with us, you can also do so at breaktrutv at gmail.com. Yeah. My guest should be on the line very, very soon. And she's going to be telling me of what is on her mind. And I think this is very, very interesting. This will be very, very interesting. And I'm actually looking forward to talking to this lady. Hello, can you hear me?
Hi, yes, I can hear you.
Okay, how is it? How does it sound? Sound good for you?
Yep.
Okay, thank you. And what is your name, please?
Vivia.
Vivia. Thank you, Vivia, for coming to tell us what is on your mind. And have you had a good day?
I've had a fantastic day.
You had a fantastic day, yeah. You know, I think people are using that word more and more and more all the time. Fantastic. You know what I mean? It's great when you hear somebody say they have a fantastic day, isn't it?
Yeah, even if it's raining or snowing or it's hailstone, it's still a fantastic day.
That's right. That's great. That's great. So, Vivia, you're from Birmingham?
I am.
You're from Birmingham, yeah? Lived in Birmingham long?
I have lived in Birmingham since 1970.
Okay. Can you tell me where you hail from?
I was born in Jamaica.
You was born in Jamaica?
In a place called St. Elizabeth.
Oh, you was born in St. Elizabeth. So I know St. Elizabeth very well. I always say my very old family, my very old family, what I call the old family, originally came from, one side of my family originally came from St. Elizabeth. You know what I mean? What I call it.
Okay.
I said my very old family, but back to some of my descendants. But some of my descendants actually came from St. Elizabeth. You know? Yeah. I came from Clarendon. You know Clarendon?
Okay.
You ever been to?
I know a bit of Clarendon, yeah.
You know Beckham. So Vivia, tell me, what's on your mind?
I think the key thing, there's lots of things on my mind.
Okay, start.
One of the main things that's on my mind right now is about the issues around black mental health.
Yeah. And elaborate for me, please.
Sorry, it's breaking up a little bit.
Okay. Hello?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you fine. I can hear you fine, yeah. Can you hear me? I can hear you fine. I can hear you fine. Just carry on talking. I can hear you fine.
Okay, so back in 2013, around about 13, 14,
Yeah.
I studied to become an AMP, which is an approved mental health professional.
Yeah.
It basically meant that after qualification, I was able to assess people under the Mental Health Act.
Yeah.
And determine whether they needed to be in hospital or not.
Okay.
So I think from that point onwards, I kind of developed a real interest in the issues around black mental health.
Okay.
I'm no expert at all, but the situation concerns me greatly. And I read an article in the paper. I think it was a black psychiatrist in America.
Yeah.
Said that in the 20-odd years of him practicing, he was still shocked to see that no forward movement in the improvement and the quality of care and services for people with black people with mental health issues.
Yeah.
And that kind of hit me to the core.
Okay.
And so it's quite concerning for me. It's quite concerning for a lot of people around me and the community in a larger sense that here we are in 2021.
Okay.
And I don't feel that we've actually moved forward quite a bit. There seems to be still a lot of walls being put up, psychological walls, mental walls, to prevent us from actually accessing services. And, we're just still at the priority sense of the word, which is having a major impact.
Okay, okay. What do you think has caused this impact?
Sorry?
What do you think has caused this impact?
I don't think...
there's not one answer?
That's a really good question, and I'm glad you asked that question, because it's always about where is the root cause of everything? Where is this coming? Yeah. Why do people think the way they think? What has led to us being in the position we are? And some people will look at it from a biblical perspective, saying that, okay, when you read the Old Testament especially, you can see that there is a link between the black nations, children of Israel, etc., and the link between moving away from the biblical laws, etc., that led to us being where we are.
Really?
That's an argument.
Really?
There's also the issue of the entrenched racism that goes back to the early days of slavery.
Yeah, yeah.
And issues around how we are perceived as a people. And there's lots of information out there, so I'm not even going to talk about statistics or anything, because people can actually go and read. Yeah. But some of the things that I've heard in my short experience of working in mental health services is looking at how we were perceived by the white population, i.e., the darker you are is the closer you are to the animal kingdom. The whiter you are is the closer you are to cleanliness, godliness, and God, etc.
Yeah, yeah.
So we have this sort of caste system, and we see it throughout slavery. We've read it, we've seen it in films, music, etc. About the house slave and the field slave, and how we were almost taught to fight against ourselves.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
As a people.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's this division that was burst through
way back.
Looking at, I'm better than you because I'm in the house.
Mm-hmm.
I'm better than you because my skin is fairer than yours.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've often heard about my own self.
Yeah.
When I say to people I'm from St. Elizabeth.
Yeah. Yeah.
People will say, "Oh, how comes you're so dark?"
Yeah. Yeah.
Because the fact that I come from St. Elizabeth, I wait to see, the shade of my skin.
Which is a stupid mentality, isn't it?
It is a stupid mentality. It's an absolute stupid mentality. But honestly, there is so much. But just based on my experience of working in mental health services,
yeah,
assessing people under the Mental Health Act,
yeah,
having to admit people who are really mentally unwell into hospital, it's so daunting to when you go into the hospital, you see our brothers and sisters, our mothers, our fathers, our cousins, our uncles in hospital.
Wow.
Often, sometimes alone because they're not getting that support from the community.
Mm-hmm.
Or the family. Things that are sometimes very hidden. We don't talk about it.
Yeah, that's quite true. Or is
when I was doing my training again, when I looked in the setting in terms of the class setting in the room,
yeah,
I was one of I think I was the one of two black women on the course.
Yeah.
Out of a number of about 40 people on the training, there wasn't much black people doing the training.
Yeah.
You have a system is entrenched with racism, and I call it like when you put milk into your coffee, there's no way of getting it out. So the system is set, in a sense, to keep us in a particular position.
Yeah.
And even though we don't have the physical chains on, we are still mentally enslaved, and it's painful to see.
Okay. How do we change it?
How do we change it?
And should we have more say black people in the system working on getting training for that? How do we change it?
Well, there's a lot of black people working within the mental health system.
Okay.
But how I link that, and I don't know if I'm wrong or not, it would be really interesting to get people's views.
Yeah.
But when I look at the history, some of our history, and how we as a people have to stand and watch our own brother, sister, uncle, aunt being beaten or burnt to death, we have to almost psychologically cut off from that.
Okay.
I wonder if we're carrying some stuff in us unconsciously, that we are almost on the front line. We are the nurses, the cleaners, the assistants, the people who are making the diagnosis and offering the treatment. Mm-hmm. It's not usually people of our colour.
Okay.
In a sense.
Okay.
So we, I think, sometimes are too passive, that we don't often challenge things, and we don't look beyond the surface. So if we're going to really understand where racism and the issue of that we're facing in terms of mental health comes in, we have to go back to the root cause. How did this come about in the first place?
Wow. That is a big question. And how long do you think we'll be able to change this? Which is like a $50 million question.
Yeah, it is a $50 million question, and it's hard. And I know there's a lot of good work going on out there, but I do sometimes wonder if there needs to be more of a joined up.
Or do you think we should be working? I mean, those in the field should be working more closely together.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Because, I mean, there are, and I'm not criticizing anybody, but I know there's people that does it for the job, you know what I mean? And there's people that does it for the money. But and like you know, and there's people that does it for because they want the system to change. You know what I mean? And I said that is probably the system. Those are the people that we need. You know what I mean? To get involved, even though they get paid for it. You know what I mean? The people who really cares. You know what I'm saying? To sort of help this eradicate or eradicate it. You see where I'm going with that?
I see where you're going. Yeah, I see where you're going. But if we are dependent on a system that we know historically, and not just historically, you know, it's happening now, is suppressive.
Okay.
How are we going to change from a system that believes that we belong where we are?
Okay.
And also, when I think about mental health and how that is described or how the diagnosis is made, etc., I think about one specific issue around deliberate self-harm.
Yeah.
When you hear about deliberate self-harm, you think about somebody who would inflict pain on themselves.
Yeah.
When I look at our Black situation, I think, in a sense, we are deliberately self-harming.
Okay. Yeah.
Why do we deliberately self-harm? Is it because we hate ourselves?
Yeah. That is a strange one, isn't it? Is there a program out there to sort of help people? Hello? Is there a program out there to help people?
A program, did you say?
Yeah. Is there a program out there to help? You know what I mean? To sort of help people.
I think there needs to be more local, I don't know, community stuff going on. There are charities, but I'm not sure how linked up they are.
Yeah.
So there needs to be more, maybe collaboration.
Yeah.
There needs to be more talking about mental health issues.
Okay.
Because we know statistically, the statistics have been hidden in open view.
Yeah.
That Black people, especially Black men, 10 times more likely to be admitted under the Mental Health Act and given the worst treatment.
Okay.
And being in hospital longer than everybody else.
Okay.
So while we know these things are happening, there aren't organizations that are trying to do something, but I do think that we as a nation need to talk about it much more.
Yeah.
We need to open it up much more. And I guess, you know, you're in a position where you can bring these arguments out with people. We need to do as a nation to empower ourselves rather than relying on a system, to me, and I'm being honest here, rather than relying on a system that doesn't understand our issues.
All right, yeah, I see what you're saying. So how can we start a public awareness about this?
I think it probably starts with talking a lot more.
Yeah.
And allow people to come to the fore, being really honest and stop hiding about what's happening.
Yeah.
Talk about it.
Okay.
And look at ways that we as a nation can actually support ourselves rather than always relying on the system to support it.
Yeah. And you've been in the system a while. What are the figures? What are the figures? Any rough idea what the figures are? Or say yearly figures? What are the figures?
I mean, we're supposed to be the so-called minority in the population, but yet I can't give you exact figures. I don't want to give you figures out of my head.
Okay, I understand that. Because we're like something like we're something like probably 2% of the population, if that, aren't we? Roundabouts, you know.
And we're occupying more space in the mental health institutions than anybody else.
Yeah, and it's absolutely ridiculous. It is absolutely. It is absolutely.
This is fact.
Yeah.
Government statistics.
Yeah, and has mental health issues within the what I call the Nubian people, has that gone up since the pandemic?
It has, yeah.
It has.
It's gone up, or yeah, it has gone up because you have the issues around poor housing, economic deprivation, the general inequalities, access or lack of access to services. And when you do try and access services, you're not getting the same treatment as others would. So certainly quite concerning.
So let me ask you then about say we go back, say about 5 years ago, because I know a lot of people are talking about this now, you know what I mean? More than I've ever actually heard this before, you know, because I've lived in the UK a little while, you know what I mean? And I think sort of this year and last year, I've heard about it, you know what I mean? But I think this year and last year is the first I've sort of hear more and more about it than any other period that I've lived in the UK. Am I right to say that? Or is it coming? Or it's been reported more? Is more people is working at it to make it more aware?
There's a lot of awareness. It's been spoken about a lot more.
Yeah.
But statistically, nothing is changing.
Okay.
Numbers of black men and women in mental health institutions.
Yeah.
And when they are in there, they're in there longer than anybody else. And when they are treated with the more harsher treatment.
Wow.
So whilst there is a lot more awareness, how do we as a people start to look at how we change those statistics? Because nobody else is going to change them.
Yeah.
There's, a lot of us work in organizations where they have lots of really good structures, policies and procedures.
Yeah.
And we see that coming through from central government, right through to local government.
Yeah.
But what happens, there's a lot of stuff on paper, but nothing happens in practice and on the ground.
Okay. Yeah.
So I can't expect somebody who doesn't really understand my history, where I'm coming from, what my experiences are, to actually make the changes, or for me to just sit back and wait for somebody else to do it. What are we doing as a people to change those statistics?
That's a very good point. That's a very good point. And let me ask you then, do you see ourselves as a people? Are we sort of frightened of it as a people? You know, take for instance, I'll give you an example. Say, if you got a family member or a friend who's got suffering mental health problems, you know what I mean? Are you sort of frightened of it, or you're too scared, or you see what I'm saying? Or you sort of put those people in a box and say, oh, I don't want to have nothing to do with him, or you see what I'm saying? Are we sort of, does that happen? Does that happen? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, it does happen. There's a lot of stigma.
Yeah, that's right.
Involved with mental health, especially within our communities. There's a lot of stigma, and so it doesn't get talked about enough. And we know that, if I'm going to use a biblical term, when the enemy backs you in a corner and psychologically traumatize you and make you feel that you are no good, you are useless, also so isolated, make you feel that you're the only one experiencing that. So in a sense, sometimes I think our families may be working in isolation. They don't want to talk about it. They don't want to ring somebody and say, look, this is what's going on.
Yeah.
You know, what can you advise? What help do you think is out there, etc. Start bringing it out and looking at how we can resolve our issues. Not to say that we're going to do away with the system, but what I'm saying is, in 20 years' time, you will still be hearing that little change has occurred, even though we have policies and procedures and systems in place to change the statistics.
My days.
Because we've been talking about this for 20, 30, 40, 50 years. And we haven't moved forward.
And there's no significant change.
No.
No, there's no significant change. Wow. And the answer seems so difficult, isn't it?
It is a difficult one. And there is no easy solution, to be honest. But I wonder sometimes how much we delve into where we're coming from as a people, because if we don't know who we are, I think that's a major problem.
So you think that it could be do you think that could be the major effects on what we're talking about?
I think that's a major issue.
It is a major issue.
I mean, one of the things that I've questioned, and this is me personally, about the name that I have, the name that I use, especially the surname, because I know that's linked to slavery. And the fact that I'm still using a slave master's name, am I still mentally connected to that? One of the things that God always did when he moved a people or changed a people is change their name.
But do you think I mean, I don't. Do you think we sort of blame everything on slavery, though? I know that's where we're coming from, and you know what I mean. And I'm not. I wouldn't dare. You know what I mean? I wouldn't dare shrivel it down because listen, I'm nearly where that is coming from. My grandmother was born in 1893, so you see how close to that I am. You know what I mean? I'm not that old, but my family has lived a long time, so you see how close to that I am. You know, when you think about it, so I'm not trivializing it at all. But do you think we sort of blame everything on sort of slavery?
No, I don't. You know why?
Why?
Because the whole system is built on slavery.
Yeah. I see what you're saying.
The whole system is built on slavery.
Built on slavery, yeah. And well, I guess humans has always done that, though, isn't it? I mean, even if you go back to the Bible lands. You know what I mean? What I call the Bible lands. They were slaves in the Bible. Conquer somebody and take them to work because that was to grow their economy, wasn't it? That was what the whole slavery about. I know we've been in this slavery the longest. You know what I mean? But they've always had been slaves, hasn't they? And so they always have been slaves. I'd say we've been in the slavery the longest, and that the whole slavery was about is just. Conquering people to work, to help to build their economy, no matter where, you know what I mean, no matter where you were from, you know. I mean, there's been slaves in the Bible. And when you read the Bible, there has been slaves from even that period of time, if you're sort of, you know what I mean, succumb to that, you know what I mean. Some people don't believe in the Bible, but if we go back, what I call the history of the world, there have always been slaves, you know. And
I agree.
And I see sometimes. I mean, I'm not disagreeing with you at all, and I would never dare disagree with you because I know some of the history. You know what I mean? I see with our race is that. Listen, let me. I'm not trivializing what you say at all. I would not dare do that. But I just wanna run this by you. I see places like, Korea, Japan, Germany, that was totally destroyed. Yeah? Hello? That was totally destroyed in the war. You know what I mean? And look where those countries are now. Even Japan was wrecked. And look where all those countries are now. Some of those countries are world power now.
Okay. Let me ask you a question then.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question.
Okay.
Of all the years that you've been hearing about the millions that's been raised to eradicate, malaria or get clean water in Africa, why has there been no change to that? Why are people still having to drink dirty water?
I guess they use the Africans, aren't they? They just go to Africa and take what they can, and they don't allow the country to develop.
They do.
They use the country and they don't allow the country to develop. They take what they want to build the rest of the world. Yeah, but that is what they do. But I sometimes think if we had a strong, you know what I mean, a strong system. I know they come to conquer and do what they want to do. I sometimes think if we had a strong system where we didn't have to fight with spear, you know what I mean, we could have looked after our own land and be a better race of people instead of being taken as slave. Or if we didn't put up the resistance more, if we had fight more. You know what I mean? And put up a more resistance. You know what I mean? When we see these people coming with their guns and all their tricks and all the things they've done over the years, you know, we didn't have what I call a big gun.
Okay.
Yeah.
So knowledge is power, though, isn't it?
That's right.
So
yeah.
we don't need. They're not fighting us now with spears.
No.
They're not. We're not shooting. They're not shooting like it's happening in America, in a sense.
Yeah.
But we are self-destructing, aren't we?
Yeah.
We're constantly self-destructing, and also the shots might not be going out. However, we are locked up.
Okay.
We're in the mental health institutions.
Okay.
So let me explain.
Okay.
If I go into my GP
Mm-hmm.
and another nation goes into the GP
Mm-hmm.
with the same symptoms, with the same complaint, the chances are that my situation will be looked at differently.
Okay.
And the reason why I'm saying that
Yeah.
is that the way people write things about us, that if you raise your voice because, it's a cultural thing, it's recorded.
Yeah.
He or she was aggressive.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
That becomes a risk factor.
Yes.
And we know that.
Yeah.
Okay? So the perception of others on us as a nation
Yeah.
is that we are not worth much.
Yeah.
And this is not to say that there is not a lot of people, really decent people with good hearts out there that are fighting for the rights of black people. There's a lot of that going on.
That's right. So,
But what I'm saying is, us as a nation, we need to step up
yeah.
and we need to look at how we as a people can become almost self-sufficient.
That's right. And I think that's what I mean to say when I said to you, great, some of those powers that was destroyed, you know what I mean? They're really, they're really, some of those countries are ruling the world now, you know what I mean? Or they've got a lot of stuff and we still, you know what I mean? We still so far back, you know? And, I don't know. Anyway. Yeah. The program is actually coming to a close, you know what I mean?
Okay.
But let me say thank you for taking part. And, you know what I mean? How do you feel about it? Let me ask you. I have to ask you this. How do you feel about putting your point across, which I think is very good? Hello?
How do I feel about putting my point across?
Yeah.
I think I'm passionate about it.
Yeah.
And if there's anything I can do...
Yeah.
To make a difference.
Yes.
And I feel sometimes I am trying to do that in my own work setting.
Yes.
For example, when I'm speaking to my colleagues, if there's a mental health act assessment that is to occur,
yeah,
and how people go into that, because we have predominantly white people that are undertaking mental health act assessments.
Okay.
I don't quote me because I don't really know the statistics.
No, I wouldn't
but
do
it's
that.
certainly in my setting, that's what I can see. So when somebody goes in to see a person of a different race and they don't understand the cultural elements,
yeah,
they're going to see things different. So it's that raised voice, yes.
Yeah.
It's aggression.
Yeah.
The behavior is abnormal.
Okay.
This person needs to be in hospital.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
So I'm really passionate about it.
Thank you. Well, let me say thank you for taking part in the program, and thank you for sharing your view with us. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vivia Johnson. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Have a great night. Thank you. Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. I want to say thanks to Vivia Johnson for telling us a little bit about mental health. And we know mental health affects our community very badly. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the program. And you can call us on 07872 443765. The program goes out each Wednesday from 8 till 9. And as I say, we are live. It's a live stream. And we want to say thanks to all our sponsors. Thank you. Thank you to our sponsors. The ACMC, Afro-Caribbean Millennium Center. New Style Radio, 98.7 FM. The Reggae Jam Jam Jerk Center. Also, the Reggae Jam Jam is a taste of Jamaica. Yeah. Break Tru Studios. Record and master mix. Get in touch. We also do video productions. Yeah, and I say this is a live stream program. So if you see something, you know, the program is live. No edition on this program, no edited. I say we do live video streaming from also live video studio for hire. Thank you. I'm Carl, and we'll be back here next week. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. God bless you. Thank you for tuning in to the program. And remember, like. Is the COVID-19 pandemic affecting your business or your livelihood? Or are you struggling to pay your pending and current bills? Then you must listen very carefully. Premium advertising will expose your business to thousands of people instantly by using both digital and terrestrial radio and a wide range of social media platforms to get your business out there and start making money. It is that simple, so don't delay. Contact us to advertise your business on New Style Radio 98.7 FM, www.newstyleradio.co.uk, and all multiple social media platforms. Our highly trained digital marketing team will create a bespoke digital marketing strategy tailored to get your business up and running and making money in no time. Don't delay, call us today. Our team is standing by. 07584197380. WhatsApp us on 07872443765 or email us at newstyleradio live@yahoo.com.